Is it possible that when we blame others, it's actually for something we haven't addressed within ourselves? Today, we're diving into the moment we stop pointing fingers and start reclaiming our personal power. This episode is your invitation to step back for clarity, lean into growth, and transform that story into purpose. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin. You're listening to the Opulence Mindset Podcast. This is for those on the road less traveled, doing the inner work, embracing the process, and striving to live life to the fullest. I'm Chanel, your gratitude coach and loyal teammate, as we grow, heal, and evolve together. Thank you for sharing valuable time with me, and remember to wear opulence, think love. I extend the invitation to soften into this present moment, to honor the parts of you that are possibly holding pain, judgment, or resentment, and to gently begin this process of releasing blame and calling your power back. Closing your eyes if it's safe to do so. Inhale through your nose. Hold for a moment. Exhale through your mouth with a gentle sigh. Again, in through the nose. Expanding your belly. And out. Releasing anything heavy. Imagine with each breath, you're creating space. Space to hear and space to grow. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be present. Welcome to the Opulence Mindset Podcast, a space where we unlock our unlimited potential, align with our most authentic selves, and vibrate daily in abundant gratitude. I'm Chanel, your gratitude coach, here to share my healing journey and the tools that have helped me awaken to the power of appreciation. Today, we continue overcoming fear and scarcity thinking with part 2, releasing blame and reclaiming your power. Blame often emerges from a fixed mindset where we believe pain, identity, and patterns are out of our control. We stay stuck because we think they broke me, therefore I'm broken. But when we adopt a growth mindset rooted in gratitude, we begin to ask, what can I learn? How can I grow beyond this point? And what silver linings of this experience can I take from? That's when the perspective shift begins. Dr. Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset teaches us that our abilities and even our relationships can evolve. In a fixed mindset, we fear judgment, avoid failure, and protect our ego at all costs. But in a growth mindset, we see every challenge, every heartbreak, even every betrayal as a chance to become more of who we are meant to be. Blame belongs to the fixed mindset. Responsibility, reflection, and power belong to growth. When we release blame, we stop outsourcing our power and start reclaiming it. So let me ask you, as you reflect on a past experience, who or what have you been blaming? Do you believe that blame has protected you from accepting? What do you believe that blame has been protecting you from accepting about yourself? What would it feel like to release that blame today? Especially if the person you're blaming is yourself, because you are not defined by your pain. You are not stuck in your past. You are here now. You are learning. You are evolving. Psychologist Jason Moser conducted a fascinating study on how the brain reacts to making mistakes. And it completely reshaped how we look at learning. He found that people with a fixed mindset tend to shut down after making a mistake. Their brain literally resists processing the error. The energy goes into protecting the ego, not learning. But people with a growth mindset, as Carol Dweck describes, had brain activity light up. It was like their mind said, "Ooh, let's dig in. There's something to learn here." Their brains were on fire with curiosity and engagement to learn what the right answer is. Mistakes are just data to rule out options. So ask yourself, when you fall short, do you spiral in shame or do you get curious? A personal example of a fixed mindset moment, or rather a whole decade of my life up to now, has been in my relationship with my parents. These dynamics have felt distant since I can remember and became especially tense during the last 2 years of my high school. Their love often felt conditional, based on obedience. There was little room for honest communication in our home. I think a byproduct of generational conflict avoidance, on top of fear of consequences for questioning authority or being vulnerable and ending up very invalidated, especially as a female. Everything in our critical culture felt filtered through expectations and silent judgments. And I fell in love my junior year. It was probably the purest love I know to this day, actually. But my dad felt that I needed to be dating different people. He backed it up with the church's youth instruction pamphlet and an intuitive blessing given by a church-appointed patriarch that I was to marry a return missionary after I served a mission. I took that as a disappointed rejection, not just of my relationship, but of me, because that's not what I wanted. Adding to the religious rules and pressure to be perfect, the curfews, turning in my phone at night, and feeling that no matter how responsible or high achieving I was, they still didn't trust me. And that sense of, I would say, disrespect irked my ego because I was a good person. I identified as a good kid. I had overextended myself to make them proud in so many ways. What I hadn't taken responsibility for was my tendency to invite my boyfriend over whenever I was left in charge of my younger siblings. Because I saw myself as a responsible, good student, varsity athlete. I wanted my boyfriend to literally make cookies with my brother and sister. I didn't see it as like a bad situation. I was going to be responsible and not do anything crazy. I was working weekends for my dad's restaurant, skipping invitations from friends to relieve the financial pressures somehow. And he would always come to me because he knew I would work hard and I took ownership in that. All I wanted was to be able to hang out with my boyfriend without them hovering down my neck like I was at everyone else's house. In my frustration, I started blaming them for everything I felt I was missing out on, for my unhappiness, and for the way I felt boxed in. So when I was over it and given the ultimatum, follow my rules or get out of my house, I chose to leave. And trust me, once you're on the opposite side of my dad's loyalty, it feels like you're public enemy number one, while he erases your existence from his memory at the same time. I'd never wish that feeling on anyone. This wasn't just a family disagreement. I was raised in a faith that taught me that eternal family was the center of life's purpose. So to be at odds with them didn't just feel like rebellion, it felt like I was going against the commandments of God. I was staying with friends until those friendships ended because at 17 I was battling homelessness, shame, and guilt. Everyone else was watching American Idol and going to the mall. Even the ward bishop was telling me I was destroying my future and risking my full ride scholarship because I had done this to my family. I was hurt, angry, embarrassed, very depressed, and confused. I hadn't really thought me leaving to get a week of freedom would actually turn into months of back and forth. I was just trying to stay afloat while in school and on the court and in life, and blaming my parents every step of the way for not loving me unconditionally and for abandoning me at the most critical season of my life. All because I wanted to choose for myself and for them to love me anyway. I wanted to exercise the free agency they had said I always had. And with the love and support from my boyfriend's family and others who stepped up when I needed it most, I still fell into that blame and bitterness, using it like fuel to prove them wrong and make them feel sorry. But the truth is, when vengeance and fear are your fuel sources, you are only driving yourself toward burnout and breakdown. I told myself, who lets their teenage daughter sleep in a car just because she wants to have a boyfriend? I'd been groomed to be a wife. I waited till after 16. Wasn't this what they wanted? Constant thoughts spiraled like they really don't care about me. They'd rather be right than to have a relationship with me. And beneath that, I blamed the church for conditioning them to choose rules over our relationship, control over compassion. I often say that's why I connect so deeply with my queer friends, because I know what it feels like to be rejected by your family for choosing to live your truth over old traditions. Fast forward 13 years later to my niece's birth and divine intervention, aka COVID shutdown. That brought me back to my old neighborhood, the one I swore I'd never return to. I didn't understand until the last 5 years that no matter how hard you try, you can't outrun your unhealed trauma. It took a series of humbling experiences on both sides throughout this estrangement to soften hearts and clarify understanding. So when a very unexpected 8-hour car ride with my dad, as two adults, we were forced to face the truth that we had both been avoiding. And we opened up. We tackled the hard conversations. And for the first time, I spoke freely. I was unafraid of having a different opinion than his. And I started asking direct questions. And in the end, we chose to release the anger and simply respect each other's points of view. That conversation allowed me to understand, even though we loved each other, we had been letting ego, driven by pride, lead the way. Both of our actions in that experience in high school had been rooted in fear, shame, jealousy, and lack of communication. All of it had created a wedge between us, eroding the fragile fragments of trust we once held. I realized I was repeating the same emotional behavior patterns I had experienced with my parents in different settings. The same longing for approval, the same fear of rejection, the same shape shifting for love. That realization hit me hard. We were all just scared kids underneath it all. Me, them, all of us, acting out of fear. Fear of losing control, fear of losing belonging. And it wasn't until years later when I heard the words, "The answer is love," that I began to release the pain and blame. And at that point, who was right or wrong didn't freaking matter. By recognizing my patterns and the root of their existence, and by releasing fear and blame, I took responsibility for my choices and actions in everything. Because remember, no matter what the circumstances were, I had chose to leave. But most importantly, I took my power back and started doing the work. And I haven't stopped since. Over the years, I've immersed myself in the teachings of, Napoleon Hill, Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Byron Katie, and so many others who helped me begin processing and rewriting the narratives tied to my adolescent experiences. Truthfully, disassociation was my survival mode during that time. So a lot of it is uncovering memories, to be honest with you. And through deep inner work, I've realized a powerful truth. Everyone sees life through their own lens, focused mostly on their own survival. We all make choices to feel safe, emotionally and physically. I'm no exception. And when you truly accept that, things stop feeling so personal. Brené Brown reminds us, owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. The more we embrace our imperfections, the more authentically we live in raw, real, unapologetic authenticity is the highest vibration of love we can offer. We are not here to be perfect. We are here to be perfectly ourselves. Sometimes the collapse is the clearing. Sometimes the ending is the upgrade. Making peace with mistakes means choosing curiosity over criticism. So the next time you mess up, stumble, or don't meet your own expectations, ask yourself, what am I being shown here? How is this leading me back into alignment? Because even failure is just feedback from the universe, whispering, let's try another way. Your presence and input are sacred to me. Thank you for holding space for us to share this level of vulnerability. The fact that you're here means you're already stepping into your own knowing, and that we are aligned in the collective evolution. Through this platform, no matter where you are right now, no matter what timeline you're in, it's like I'm sitting right next to you, saying, hey, you're not alone. You are loved, and I'm here to help. Trust that the opulence mindset perspective shift is supporting your personal growth and well-being. To all the listeners who follow along in this journey, thank you. I cannot do this without you. The divine love in me recognizes the divine love in you. May the eternal light of this shared experience journey to the great beyond in perpetuity. Until next time, wear opulence, think love, and so it is. Amen.